Hey guys, welcome to this. A new foe appears. Today we have two new foes, actually old foes. We've seen these guys on before. Of course, we have Kirbykid and Ninjalink. These guys definitely some of the great minds of the Smash 4 community. So anyways guys, Kirbykid, how you doing today, man?
Oh, pretty good. It's a nice hot day in Texas, so I gotta stay indoors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Ninjalink, how you doing, man? Cool down there or what? Is it hot?
It's pretty hot.
Yeah, of course, man. You knew.
Nice humid weather.
Yeah, man. You guys don't have weather like we do.
It's true.
But it's okay. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff I wanted to talk to you guys about. There's just been so much been going on. Of course, we just finished DreamHack Atlanta, and that was pretty crazy. And of course, Evo, the major one, the biggest fighting game tournament you can have annually. And of course, the winner for the Smash 4 Wii U side for both those events was MVG Salem. And this is remarkable because, of course, Bayonetta has won now, not just won, after this huge hunch on her back. Everyone just believed the character, they're like, oh, well, this character hasn't won a major. This character hasn't won an S-tier event. And now we have two back-to-back pretty incredible events. I'm going to start off with you, Kirbykid. Talk to me, man. What do you think about this latest Bayonetta craze in this metagame and, a lot of the hate that's been going on? I know Ninjalink has a lot to talk about, too. I can already see it in his face. But, Kirbykid, I'm going to let you rock it out first, man.
All right, so I'll start. I definitely feel a lot of the hate. People have been fearing this character as being overpowered and somewhat unsmash-like, somewhat unfun from the beginning. And despite the nerfs, people just have a hard time dealing with all of her unique and particularly effective tools. It's like she can completely shut out characters when edgeguarding and all these other abilities that kind of make you not want to hit her at all. Puts a real interesting, to say the least, a unique strain on how we play Smash. So as Zero said in one of his earlier videos, Bayonetta is a character with some of the most potential, not only because her moveset is unique, but because at the beginning she was strong, and she can only get stronger because that's pretty much how things work with Smash. Yeah. And now we're starting to see that stronger. So we all kind of knew it was coming, and this is kind of the future we've been fearing. But to put it into context is something that I definitely want to be a part of that discussion, because it's a little bit more complicated than Bayo's going to wreck the rest of our Smash 4 lives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ninjalink, man, what do you have to say briefly, man? Just tell me how you feel, because I know every time you hear about this Bayonetta hate, all these things, I can envision it from miles and miles away, the look of disgust on your face. So go ahead and talk. Let the people know, man. How do you feel about this going on now? Is this just the future of Smash 4 as a whole? Can this future be altered? Are people just going ballistic for no reason? Are people just underselling the kind of skill that Salem has? Is it a combination of things? What's going on?
Well, you already know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much, yes, Bayonetta is a good character, but there is lots of flaws that she has that no one's really exploiting fully. This is similar to Salem, again, winning Apex, was that 2012?
Yeah.
2013 with Zero Suit. Now, Zero Suit had a huge flaw with her, but yet Salem just kind of just ran through everybody. But we're like, okay, is it because Salem is good? Which I'm not downing his skill, but there's also some things about the character where if you just know these little things, the character should be struggling trying to win. So Bayonetta in general, there's lots of weaknesses, but no one really exploits them. They kind of just let it rock, and they're afraid of what she could do, but they're afraid of stuff that's not even there to begin with.
Okay.
Just to bring an example with Zero Suit, burn that time. For those who played Brawl, Zero Suit had a problem killing. It's really just back air and side B. But the way she's set up for that is doing down smash. So she down smashes and then she does a follow-up. For those who don't know, if you just smash DI, whatever her follow-up is, you will live to whatever, however many percent, 200%, 300%, doesn't even matter. So she technically can't even kill you. But yet no one knew this. Because of that, Salem went straight through. There was a video, Innocent Roads, whoever know about that account back then, he posted that video in 2010. Salem won years later, and no one ever seen that video. It just shows that people don't really research things.
Oh, I got a lot to say about that,
Yeah,
actually.
no, of course you do, man. Absolutely. Speaking of, again, guys, if you didn't know, Kirbykid, this guy heard the OneSmash.net and has just made a absolutely incredible database. If you guys have not checked it out, you're messing up. There's so much tech, so much knowledge there that you can take apart and really add to your game, or just even to understand the kind of gameplay, the high-level gameplay that you're watching on a day-to-day basis. But Kirbykid, we always talk about, us three always talk about it, the information that is present and the lack of information being utilized in order for people actually move forward. And that's always going to be a problem in a metagame. And so, Kirbykid, how do you feel right now? What information do you feel, in particular to Bayonetta, is not being utilized? And what do you think needs to change holistically right now in terms of the Smash 4 culture in actually moving away from that paradigm where people just aren't being studious? You see that in more FGC proper titles where people, granted they have better training modes, but again, there's a different kind of methodology that people go about in terms of figuring out the game, trying to break down frame data, trying to realize the simple nuances of a character, accepting a character's strengths for what they are, and then trying to mitigate them any way possible. We don't see that necessarily as much in Smash 4. I know even at DreamHack Atlanta, CLG Void, he made a tweet and he just literally he basically told everyone to shut up. He said, yes, I lost, whatever, stop complaining because you guys are not moving forward. And that's a big one, especially coming from Void. I know a lot of people always feel like it's just the horror story of Void in which he, you know, gets blown back by some rage kill or this and that, and everyone's always talking about these things, and they just feel like, oh, that's just cheap. He should just win. And so a lot of people had a lot to say, especially about Salem and especially about Bayonetta. But he, you know, he kind of just said, you guys need to shut up and you guys need to move forward. So anyways, going back to Kirbykid, what do you think are the things that people need to do tech-wise and then mentality-wise to move on forward?
Yeah, so since the beginning, we've known that Bayonetta's normals, if you will, her tilts and smashes are atypical, and they are either have less priority or are slower than normal. And a lot of people just sort of meant like, good, that makes her generally weak in some abstract idea. I can play around that. But of course, like everybody does, they play to their strengths. And if Bayonetta's moves on the ground aren't so hot, she's going to jump in the air and do whatever else to mask those weaknesses or to circumvent them somewhat. So with smashers in general, there's so much data to smash compared to a normal fighter. Each individual move is a lot more complex with more hitboxes and sour spots and sweet spots and all these other factors we got to pay attention to. And on top of that, you know, the game's very fluid. So it makes it hard for anyone to take a piece of data and really sort of hold on to it, really sort of interpret it and figure out what it means to them and their play style. So overall, smashers are very they're very flexible. They're very improvisational with how they approach the game, and they try to break things down to grander concepts rather than look at like frame to frame to frame, move to move to move, situation. I know exactly how much block stun this has and what my options are. And it also doesn't help that there's tons of characters in Smash 4. That's ridiculously a lot of matchups you got to learn and pay attention to. So we do what we do that comes naturally to us, and we just kind of play in our best style and we practice in our best and most comfortable mode. Some people just play a lot of matches with friends. Some people go into training mode, and some people grind it out on For Glory or whatever. So considering all those things, just even if Bayonetta, like I agree with Ninjalink, she has some issues. She has some frame and property disadvantages that to exploit, you have to be really comfortable, really knowledgeable, and confident in what you're going to do to counteract it that we're not seeing a lot of people do. And the whole metagame overall is really not at that level for the reasons I kind of explained. So defense in general is not a popular topic with Smash Brothers. We like to move, we like to throw around projectiles, we like to camp, if you will, or do some keep away strategies. But defense, understanding your shield and understanding how the frame data landscape sort of plays out is highly unpopular, but definitely wide open for us to sort of expand how we play this game and how we counteract characters like Bayonetta.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. And just understanding these situations, man, I think that especially in this type of game, people really need to get to that level. I would say even just in general, like understanding set play or, you know, whether for the defensive side of it or offensive side is such essential tool to do well in fighting games, and I think that's kind of lost somewhat in Smash. Honestly, I feel like aside, of course, when we bring him up again, TLG's Void, I feel like there's very few people who actually have just really, really strong set play out of kind of the standard. I mean, we know the set play from Fox, obviously the Vortex that he has. You'll see that quite often, kind of early percentage stuff, but kind of beyond that, you don't really see it nearly enough. And also people don't recognize, based on the frame data, what characters can actually do or when it's their turn. And I think that also contributes to Bayonetta, because you'll see a lot of times, even Bayonetta, will be a certain percentage where certain combos just don't exist or shouldn't exist, but people are air dodging anyways. People are afraid anyways. You know, you got to get out of here. And I mean, I'm sure we've all seen the traditional Bayonetta, like if you get like tipper down tilt, and for certain characters, if you do tipper down tilt to fair, you know, you can DI away early percent, those kind of things, but people always air dodge there. That is guaranteed. Like, it might as well be a guaranteed combo, because that literally happens all the time. And someone who does play Bayonetta, who's seen it, I see it all the time. It's the freest thing in the world. You can just carry someone with the down tilt fair and wait, because of course they're going to air dodge, and this is not just at the mid level. We're seeing that at the high level as well, these kind of things. And it's problematic, you know, again, people not recognizing the character who they believe to be the best character in the game, yet they don't know the character's options. And that's just such an odd thing to say, especially, I know all of us do play other FGC titles. And so just saying that is like, it's just odd, right? In other fighting games, like if someone said that to you, they would slap you across the face. If you came up to them and be like, oh yeah, you know, best character in the game, free, like you have to. So what do you do about this situation? I don't know that situation, man. What's that? What? Well, does that make any sense? You know, and there's just so many things like that. But Ninjalink, you know, to ask you, what are some other specific things that you see? I know you talked about there's certain weaknesses that are not being abused. Can you give me some details on it, you know, for the sake of the audience? So some people, maybe there's some people at home who simply just don't know. They want to know, but they don't know. So, you know, describe some of this stuff. You know, let's talk about some of the things that someone can do to kind of mitigate what Bayonetta does.
Okay, so going to what Kirbykid said, like this game is very, very dynamic. There's lots of little stats that every character has that no one really pay attention to fully. People only look at like, oh, how fast they run, how high, well, maybe how high they jump, and that's really it. They don't look at the character has a short hop of this height, they have to stay in the air for this long, what aerial, or rather, what options can they cover, where can they actually hit at. People look at the little stuff, they don't look at everything. And that's a huge weakness. For example, Bayonetta has the second highest short hop in the game. So if he jumps, if people actually anti-air, which if you watch a lot of Smash matches, people don't anti-air. People act like they don't even know what the word means. So, like, if she's jumping, it's like, why don't you just hit her? Like, she actually has no moves that hits below her. Like, her down air actually hits in front of her, and then her body moves downwards. Her neutral air hits sideways, and everything else it hits above. I've seen, I think Larry, he did forward tilt going forward, and it anti-aired her neutral air. He would even aim it upwards.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, like people not anti-airing. So there's that issue. No one, something that should be common knowledge, but it isn't. When she does specials in the air, she has more landing lag.
Yeah.
Like that was in a direct before the game before she even came out, and people still don't know that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like Sakurai said it himself in the video, but people forget like, oh, that she has extra lag. So if she does any specials, people have to keep track. Oh wait, she did this many specials. And say she does a combo and she's trying to get away or something, you can land and then chase her landing.
Right.
If she tries to do witch time, her witch time actually has more recovery than her landing with every single special.
Yeah.
I think it's like about 50 frames.
Yeah.
It's like a total. And then she does all the specials, it's like 40 something.
Yeah.
So it's like you just get next to her, you just wait, she's gonna do something. The aerials are not gonna cancel out her lag. You just punish whatever she lands with. If your character's slow, then yeah, you may have a problem. But it's another thing that people understand. Bayonetta is not fast. She's just as fast as Ryu and Mario. That's not a very fast character. It's pretty average. What's stopping you from, you know, running away from her? No one's really camping her. She struggles with that.
Yeah.
People saying Bayonetta camps them. I'm like, how are you camping with a slow character? How does this work? What's stopping you from just running forward and hitting her?
Yeah.
It's just little things that people are afraid of, things that don't exist. Oh, she's gonna shoot bullets at me. Yeah, but it usually goes over most characters' heads. And then even if it hits you, you can still run forward and punish anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something people don't recognize. Like, even like if besides the initial gunshots, if you're not getting hit by that, you're getting hit by the subsequent ones, then obviously you can just, that's still punished, especially at like probably like just at mid range in general for the majority of the cast. That should be a guaranteed punish there. And again, like that's another thing, just in general for a lot of characters, right? Guaranteed punishes. People don't know what guaranteed punishes are. They think the best thing I can always do is do a shield grab. That's the only punish in the world. There's no possible way I can do anything else, right? Because that would make sense. Why would I even want to know, optimal punishes?
Up smashes out of shield have become very unpopular for the last year or so. They used to be around a lot. People used to up smash out of shield all the time.
Yeah, now it's like people think their best punish is grabbing all the time when the other person is at like 140% and they get a grab and they don't even get a follow-up. Like, what are you doing? Why don't you just run and up smash or run and do something else?
Yeah.
I've seen it happen so many times.
Yeah.
People rush their punishes. They don't realize what they're punishing. People are too worried about running their game instead of paying attention to what the other character is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just an example for people that probably don't know certain things. Now, you think about Luigi's up B, and you see people do it on shield sometimes, and they miss, and they have to land. Now, people try to hit it before he lands, but people don't realize Luigi has to go up in the air, hit your shield. He goes up in the air, he flips upside down, and then he fits the ground, and then he sits there for a bit. Then he has to pull his head out of the ground, then sits on the floor, and then stands up. Ganek and Warlock punch that on block.
Yeah.
But yet you're running and trying to do an up air, and you miss.
Yeah.
Like,
or just a shield grab, a running grab.
Yeah, they do a running grab. I'm like, people don't look at what they're punishing.
No, absolutely.
So that's a problem. So when it comes to Bayonetta, people worried about their character strengths, they don't play to the other person's weaknesses.
Yeah.
That's why, I think I mentioned with Bam last time, like when people struggle with Diddy, and if you notice in the meta, everyone's jumping a lot. That's why Diddy's winning in the meta, because he's doing shot forward air and everybody. If you look at a lot of characters, a lot of characters can just duck under it. Or just standing, it doesn't even hit them. But they jump into it over and over. It's like, oh, Diddy's fair is stupid. It doesn't even hit you if you just stay on the ground. Yeah. But since the meta right now is everyone wants to jump, they think, oh, jump into free, whatever, and that's where they get hit and they loot.
Yeah.
So that's a huge problem with the meta right now. They keep trying to autopilot play their game instead of like looking at what they're actually doing. They're not technically playing the matchup. They're playing the character.
Right. No, you definitely see that. And a lot of times when people learn matchups too, they look at more so not the actual character's weaknesses, but they look at character main weaknesses, kind of general like ideas that people pick up. Like say, for example, a Meta Knight. If a Meta Knight is in a defensive position, more often than not, they're going to go for like a double jump or something. They're going to go utilize their mid-air jumps instead of going for air dodge, say in a 50-50 scenario. But, there's certain things where you should understand these true actual punishes, right? These true weaknesses where no matter what they do, this is a weakness. It's not just some kind of tendency, something that is very objective. And I think that we definitely need that a lot more. Going back to what you guys were saying, talking about up smashes out of shield, that is a very strong option, especially against Bayonetta. Once Bayonetta has exhausted her resources, it's very easy for a character you can just run down to where Bayonetta is, go into shield, and like you said, two things will happen. Either A, she lands, and you can react. It's to the point where you can actually react and do an up smash out of shield. That's an easy reaction. It's not super tight or anything. It is very, very generous on that punish. Or she does a witch time, in which same thing applies. You see it, you react to it, and you can just throw out an up smash, and you will actually punish it. And again, I think a lot of people are just afraid because they don't know actually the nuances. They don't know when they can swing. They feel like, I just have to grab. A lot of times I hear from people, grapplers are so good against Bayonetta because you can actually punish her when she's landing. And that's and that is what people say, and that's what people have come to believe as true. And of course, like if you can grab, then you don't even need to think about some of these windows, right? Because you just grab and do whatever you want or in certain positions. But the thing about the window is so large where that shouldn't be your excuse as to why you don't understand how to get an optimal punish on Bayonetta. Now, also a lot of things I was seeing from quite a bit of people is talking about Bayonetta's camping game. Now, I know you said earlier that, of course, this character is not a fast character, which is true. Like, outside of, and now if you're in the air, obviously you have afterburner kick, that's a thing, but also there's gonna be some consequences there built into that move. But a lot of people that I heard, they're always really afraid about witch twist at the edge. And a lot of camping that we've seen kind of come out of, I think it was a bit ago when Captain Zach was going up against MVD, and we saw MVD being kind of camped out. And then we saw other situations where, and I know you're laughing about this, and you know, we've seen Salem do this to a certain extent, where he's moving around these platforms and stuff. Yes, we know there's other characters who can do something similar. Yes, there's some kind of, like built-in flaws to that kind of strategy. But let's talk about the specifics here. A lot of people, they talk about witch twist, and they don't know how you can actually challenge that move. So briefly, I want to hear from you guys. Kirbykid, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about that kind of strategy? What do you think there are the holes that people need to start looking at? And just, you know, direct punishes off the top of the head when you see someone go for these kind of witch twists to just like beat people out when they're on the ledge or when they should have an advantageous position.
Mm-hmm. So the camping, the ledge strategy, you know, we all know about the built-in limitation where the second time you grab the ledge, you are vulnerable. Bayonettas try to mask that by delaying when they grab the edge, holding down to avoid grabbing the ledge, and using the priority of the witch twist in order to catch people off guard, kicking back over the stage, and many things like that. So, you know, it's definitely, Bayonetta has more tools, sort of mixing up how she's going to get back to the stage, or if she ever will. That's a thing in itself. But beyond that, how to play around the edge and how to go off the edge and pressure a person getting back, that's a huge area of Smash that's largely unexplored. A lot of people like to stay on the side of the stage, maybe do a trump every now and then, but mostly try to keep that quote-unquote stage position. But there are still a lot of things you can do to challenge the recovery and then get back onto the stage in order to have the best of both worlds. Yep. But that's a largely unexplored area. But like you're saying, if Bayonettas are trying to use specials in order to stay elusive or to keep mobile, you can chase them down and not necessarily try to hit them from underneath the platform, but jump up on the platform and challenge them as if they were standing on the ground. There's little things you can do to change where your position is that challenges what Bayonetta's best options are, and that gives you the most advantages when you're trying to play.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Ninjalink, what would you have to say about that?
You mean specifically if they do up B just to snap to the ledge?
Yeah, just up Bs, snap to the ledge. We know sometimes what they'll do is they'll grab the ledge once, and then they'll drop down, they'll go for a witch twist, as Kirbykid would say, they'll extend past the ledge, and people will get so afraid that they won't be in a position where they feel they can actually punish her re-grabbing the ledge with no intangibility there, or no invincibility there.
Okay, so as for that move, understandably, yes, the hitbox is very huge above it, but it doesn't really hit the sides that well, and the hitbox is from her waist going upwards. Mm-hmm. Some characters can actually go off stage and hit her in the back sideways if people want to risk doing that. If people have a type of move that hits the ledge and at a certain distance, they can do that. If the character doesn't have anything, there's a very specific spot, depending on which character you're using, where if Bayonetta is just at the ledge, she really can't do anything to come back on. Because lots of Bayonettas like to do the let go of the ledge and then double jump side B. Yeah. But if you stay at a very specific spot, it doesn't even hit you because it goes right over a person's head. So you can just wait a certain spot, crouch. If they do it, free up smash or whatever you want to do, depending on the character. Yeah. Like if it's Marth, you may be able to tip her, tip her forward smash, depending on where you stand. So if you just stand in a certain spot, just wait. You would just wait and just look at them and like, okay, what are you gonna do? And Bayo can't really do it. Get up attack doesn't work. Her roll is terrible. That's not gonna work. And then she does double side B. He's like, free hit. But the thing is, in the meta, no one really edge guards consistently. Yeah. Even in top level play, it's not even. It's like I don't even know. It's like a rare Pokemon or something when I see someone edge guarding. Yeah. So, but like the famous edge guard right now is run to the ledge and block. That doesn't do anything. Yeah. Yeah. So until people learn about edge guarding, then of course they're gonna let her come back for free.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Like you said, there's quite a bit of characters just off the top of the head. You can talk about like Roy. You can talk about Corrin. You can kind of wait. It's a situation where they can like go ahead and literally they can stay away from the ledge, a certain place, and if they do throw out a witch twist there, even and they're going for a regrab, or even if they try to extend it over, like you said, their kind of hitbox is going to be large enough where you can just go ahead and she's going to pay for that. And some of these characters, those moves also happen to be really strong. So that means these can be really ridiculously early kills if these are done appropriately. And like you said, a lot of times what people will do is they will get caught up in all the movement and the resources. But because they don't understand the character enough, they don't know how many resources. It's kind of like when you ask someone and they're like, oh, like I'm going up against like Jigs, right? And then they'll be like, oh, well, I need to punish this character. This character's jumping. Oh yeah, well this character has a lot of jumps. It's like, okay, well I just know I need to wait for them to, you know, not be able to jump. But it's like, wait, how many jumps does this character have? And then most people will just be like, I don't know, 8, 3, you know. And you'll see those kind of situations. Like you need to know the resources. Just earlier today, actually, I was on Twitter, and there was a couple people, and some of these high-level players, some of these top-level players, and some people still don't realize that Bayonetta can only witch twist twice. Some people still think for some reason she can do it 3 times. Some people don't recognize what needs to be done in order for her to get her triple jump. And those things are really important because if you cannot identify the resources and know how many she has, that's when it gets confusing. That's when she's flying around and it's just a great mirage, and all of a sudden you're hit with a wave of power, and next thing you know, you've died at 0, and gosh damn it, this guy clearly didn't deserve to have this win. They clearly just paid for this. This is stupid, you know? And I think that's yes, people need to get to a better place where they actually identify these resources rather than just kind of throwing their hands up in the air and letting it be. But let's move back from that now. One also major thing that we've seen, not just for Salem actually winning with Bayonetta twice, but we actually saw for both EVO and for DreamHack some kind of consistency overall in terms of the level of talent that we actually saw in the top 8s. And it seems like, you know, I can say probably, obviously we saw it a lot. We saw it at Civil War. We saw it like somewhat in Genesis, all those kind of these tournaments. We were seeing a ton of upsets. People were just like, this is upset city. This is certified proof. This game is just completely random and there's no action value skill here. Now it seems like we're seeing a shift towards people recognizing how to stay consistent. And you know, that's big. That's big for the community as a whole. Again, and for those of you guys who do play, you know, other fighting games, you know, people talk about random, you laugh, you know Marvel, you know all these games, you know, you want to talk about some of these the craziness and the setups and the variations there. There is a way to mitigate a lot of these things that people call random, or people just think of Rage as this great, they see it with great mysticism and all these things, but it seems like now people have gotten a lot better with, you know, their consistency with their setups with Rage, understanding how to mitigate Rage, seeing the kind of the quote-unquote flaws of Rage and whatnot. So what do you guys think about why this, right now we're seeing kind of era where we're seeing more consistency among the top level talents? What do you guys think is the reason? Ninjalink, I'm going to start off with you.
To me, I still don't feel like it's consistent all the way yet because it's still like leading up to top 8. True. It's still not the same placements as it usually is. True. Because EVO was a long paragraph of upsets leading up to top 8. Now Dreamland, I'm not sure. I didn't really keep up with that, so I'm not sure who was in placements there. But like, you see some of the similar faces, but it's not always the same faces every single time.
True.
There's some players are consistent, some players are not. Some people get quote unquote randomed out. But I think it's just a player to player thing. Maybe it's people that don't adapt to the other person as well, or people don't stick to their game plan, or a bunch of factors that happen. Mentality wasn't there. So I'm not too sure if I can say it's consistent yet. But Salem winning both is consistent for him. But yeah. But like before that, Salem got what placements? I don't know if he He didn't take first, so can't really say for him.
Yeah, I mean, he did well at Nairo Saga. I do believe he did well at what's it, Momocon as well too, right?
Yeah.
But he definitely has been on this kind of steady climb to being consistent in these top 8s, and now of course he's been able to get these first place finishes. And of course, I agree with you. I still think there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of the brackets, but I feel like certain players are starting to merge that have been somewhat consistent overall. Ironically, MKLeo didn't do as well as a lot of people expected him to do on his first Evo, but he has definitely been someone who's been very consistent overall as a player.
He used to be, but I feel like he's been dropping. He's been getting beaten by people he normally doesn't. He usually get top 8 all the time.
Right.
Now it's like it's very weird.
Yeah, we'll see him in
Like,
the top 6,
where
top
did he go to? Did he go to DreamHack?
Yeah, did he go to DreamHack?
Yeah, I think he got eliminated early.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and Evo also. He lost to False. He lost to a Peach player, so I forgot his name. So he got like 65th.
Yeah. Even against, actually, it's interesting note of him versus False. So Tweak actually has played back and forth with MKLeo quite a bit. They would these guys would play from friendlies. They would sometimes do this at the loft, and Tweak would actually, he had a very solid record with his DK against MKLeo.
Okay.
And False has also always had a very solid DK. He's also been, learning from Tweak. These guys are really close. So it's funny because on the onset for a lot of people, False hasn't been actually really active for a while now, kind of jump back into it. And then they see this and everyone's like, this is just craziness. Like, how did this happen? How did our Lord and Savior, MKLeo, all of a sudden get destroyed by False's random DK? But there is definitely a lot more than meets the eye there. There's definitely some backstory there. So I just wanted to touch a bit on that. Yeah. But what do you think that players need to be doing now to be more consistent? I mean, definitely, like I said, I think there's some players that are getting more consistent. Some players are kind of getting to a level. I think it's not as volatile as it used to be, but there's still a need of consistency. And I think that us three can agree that a lot of it comes down in part to just people's awareness and knowledge about the game. So what do you think people need to be looking at in order to get themselves in the proper place and just not get random out by some guy who is doesn't care, whatever. He's just gonna push buttons. All of a sudden I get hit by a wave of rage and lose my life. What do people need to do to elevate that?
It's really just understanding the game. There's people, they play their character, but they don't look at like how the game truly works. I think we've seen a few tweets this year I think you've probably seen about the Pac-Man down air thing. They thought this down air was a hydrant. and same that person didn't know holding down on a ledge makes you not grab the ledge. Someone didn't realize power shielding gave you less shield stun. If there's things like that you don't understand, I don't expect a lot, because this is just things that should be common knowledge and it's not. And of course everyone has an excuse, the game is too new, or it's like, no, that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
So you should know, at this point you should know what characters' basic movesets are.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking your down air throws out a hydrant, that's a problem.
Yeah. Man, what a hell of a down air, dude.
You want me to paint a picture for you, Bam? I can paint a picture.
Yeah. But Kirbykid, man, talk to me. What do you feel about that? What do you feel about what people need to be looking at?
So when Raito started coming to the States and showing people his duck hunt, and a few other Japanese players sort of bringing the duck hunt dog high-level play over to the state sides, and took a lot of people by surprise, a lot of top players. I think that scenario, that picture, explains a lot about what's happening currently in the meta on a grander scale. So duck hunt, I play duck hunt. By labbing him, by doing combos, by playing with him, I know the ins and outs of his characters and where he's weak and where he's strong. And you see these people on stream playing this character, and essentially, if you have no idea what your opponent is, like what Ninjalink was saying, you're going to play in a sort of conservative, reserved, defensive, reactive style. So like run up shield is not how you beat Duck Hunt. That's how you get beaten by Duck Hunt.
Right.
But and even though like some people say, well, I don't know a good Duck Hunt player. I don't know them online. There's not one in my region, whatever. But just an hour of labbing on a character can teach you so much about how easy some things come and how hard other things are, how much time you need to set something up. Even playing against a computer, you can learn things like that. That gives you a lot of information that you could use in the matches. So if you just take that idea and go, wait, Smash is filled with 58 characters and lots of stage-specific things, let alone region-specific strategies, let alone cutting-edge meta stuff or old meta stuff you kind of have to be aware of. There's a lot to learn. Yeah. And I feel like everybody divides their time differently, but we mostly do it by what we're comfortable with, not based on what we need or what we think we need. So if I walk up to someone and be like, hey, your defensive game is weak, there's a lot of stuff about shields that's easy to learn. You just gotta like sit down and read or watch a YouTube video or read or whatever. That's 15, 30 minutes worth of practice time. And when you are putting 10, 20, 30 hours into this game a week, there's no excuse. Yeah. There is no excuse for not having sort of a balanced diet, if you will.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that one. Definitely.
I have something to add to that.
Yeah.
What people do now is they play matches, they play, but I don't think they're playing to learn. They're playing just to either quote unquote have fun, or they're playing just to win. They don't really play to do research. They don't try new things while playing. And this is why everyone has that mentality of like they autopilot, they don't try, they stay in their comfort zone. No one, like, if you look at like some melee players, if you look at PPMD, he doesn't have great players in his area. It's only him, really. But yet, if you look at where he went to, Armada, he mentioned a video, he never had any Marth practice, but how often you see him losing to Marth?
Yeah.
He's practicing with CPUs.
Yeah.
But people keep making excuses and all this other stuff. Like, there's no reason to make excuses. Just if you don't know what the character does, just go and train them up, pick them up. You don't need to be an expert with them. You still need to know some type of basic knowledge.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I mean, honestly, too, again, in this day and age, you have so many resources. OneSmash.net, YouTube, all these, there's people, Discords. There is no excuse for not knowing certain nuances of a character other than the fact that you simply didn't think that it was needed. And that you were wrong. When you end up losing to it, you were wrong, right? So, I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. On that note, though, about Rido. So Rido is, he's a player, awesome player. I'm so glad he's been doing really well and, just been making waves out here in the community. But let's talk about characters. Which is what we're going to end off on. And I want to know from you guys, we've talked about this before, a while back. But I want to see now, what characters do you think are going to start moving forward in the current meta as where we are right now? Of course, there's characters that we all feel that have some of the greatest potential out there, but what characters right now, given this meta, given where we still have a time of, people just not pursuing character knowledge, what characters do you think are going to start to rise up and, put a dent in this current meta game that we're in right
now? I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't say some characters will move up, but a lot of characters should be going down. Mainly because a lot of characters that people feel like, oh, they're broken, they're too good, etc. It's mainly because they really don't know how the character works.
Yeah.
Like I played some games where some characters are ridiculous. There's no character in this game that I can say that they are like flawless.
There's no S tier characters in Smash 4. People need to stop putting them in the S category on their tier list.
Yeah, there's no S tier. Like Rosalina, people still don't know how Luma works, and I think it was almost 3 years now. It's not saying the Buzz is doing anything wrong, but like if people understand how the character works more, he won't be as winning as often. Or getting high places as often. It's people just understand what the character does. Mario, which they've been talking about Mario, who he's top 5. I'm like, yeah, he gets good quote unquote frame data, but it's like he's not fast. He has no range. He's stubby. Take advantage of that. People just don't take advantage of what the character's weaknesses are, and they just want to play their thing. So if you look at that, Sheik is probably the character that's probably the least flaws besides the killing thing. But of course, killing is important, so that it comes out that comes out to bite her later, because rage is a thing in this game. If rage wasn't a thing, then she's probably best instantly. I don't know if you guys agree.
I mean,
but like,
she's pretty good. She's
like
pretty good.
like neutral wise, like she doesn't commit to anything. The problem is, like, when she has to kill someone, that's when a commitment comes in. Then she messes up, and then she dies. That rage. Someone does like they hit her 3 times, she dies. That's usually what happens. It's probably that's what people complain about when Void fights people. Because like, yeah, he's winning the whole time, but then he just lost like 2 or 3 neutral exchanges, and he lost, even though he won like 9 or 10 before that.
Yeah.
Like Diddy should. Well, we already talked about that enough. He definitely should not be as high as people think he is. So it's mostly the top tiers should be dropping, is not as high as they are. As for anyone going upwards, I can't really say for sure.
Okay. Kirbykid, do you have any characters that you think are going to be rising? Are you in the same kind of boat as Ninjalink in terms of a lot of these characters are going to be dropping? Where do you see the meta game right now moving?
Just taking into account that people have their weird hangups on studying certain aspects of the game, and I'm always saying, like, if you understand the character's weaknesses and play stronger defense, you can crack a lot of characters. But that kind of takes a little bit of specific training per character, so I can see why people don't want to do it. But for some reason, I'm thinking Captain Falcon. And people have gotten used to his speed, how to control it, that's the challenge for Captain Falcon players, to slow down a little bit. They're more focused with their tilts than ever before. And even though his edge guarding coming back to the stage is a little bit risky and labored, I see a lot of people doing some really smart things with him. And he has power. Like, he has power. He can pack a punch. So characters like that seem fairly sort of straightforward, but have some really obvious tools like that, I feel like are going to rise, because people are going to start placing their moves more intelligently and based out of defensive setups instead of just going for dash grabs all the time. Might as well throw Duck Hunt in there, because, you know, he's cool. As soon as somebody starts pressuring these Duck Hunts to actually play around their weaknesses, that's when you're going to see some really cool stuff. But as long as you let him set up both a can and a gunman and maybe toss out a frisbee without challenging him, then you might as well just fight the projectiles, because that's a losing battle.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I know Larry is he thinks Duck Hunt a very solid character. I think a lot of people were taken back by what Armada's been able to do. But yeah, I definitely see that. I think that Falcon makes sense. I think, like, in terms of the current metagame where we are now, I mean, it's been too long where we've seen Fatality just do the damage that he's been able to do. It's kind of funny that we haven't had as many Falcons kind of come out here and then, like, put in the work. We just really have kind of a drop-off point. But I think that we may see some Falcons just going at the level play. We do have his hand offhand, man. It was a Kashmir, right? And a Kashmir doing well too. I think that we could see, if the Falcons keep pushing forward, I could see the character still doing really well. I think sometimes people kind of forget about the power of that character. And even some of the kind of nuances there for the character too, just to be even more explosive. You know, not just like the Fistol setups, but certain things depending on kind of the weight. You know, just like weight, speed, just dealing in terms of like certain like DI mix of stuff as well to get some more punishes and get some guaranteed early kills. I think that people still aren't looking at nearly enough for that character. So, you know, yeah, I definitely think that character I can see the character moving forward.
I think at the end of the day, it just comes to optimization and ease.
Yeah.
Because right now, the characters people pick, they don't pick the character who has like the greatest potential. They're picking the character that has, like, I guess, the easy win button. Like, pretty much it's an easy, like, the character has a goal. The goal is really easy to see, and you're just trying to like achieve it.
Yeah, a lot of the clear cut stuff.
Yeah, if it's too many layers, they're like, no, we're gonna drop it.
Yeah,
like, I mean, we all know like we know what Greninja could do, but like no one, not one single person, I believe, like optimized him fully. Like, and some other characters that, like, we just had a low tier tournament. They had Little Mac in a low tier tournament. I'm thinking, like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's another character that's like, I don't like if you fought a actual good little Mac that knows how to anti-air and pretty much counterpokes you with everything you do, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Because he has the tools to do such a thing. Like, oh, you jumped in. Oh, I'm just gonna armor whatever aerial you do and just anti-air you.
Yep.
Oh, you're trying to poke me. His pokes will eat yours no matter what.
Yeah, armor or up tilt, dude. Like he just like I don't care.
No, not armor. That's a guard point. So like, or what I think Smashers call it, trample.
Trample, yeah, unreboundable.
Yeah, auto guard. It's all the same. But it's like he has the option to do that, and then he has armor on his smashes. And then he's third fastest character, so it's like he technically, if he just waits you out, you're afraid because you don't know what the hell he's gonna do. Yeah. And then if you press anything, he's like, "Oh, you press something," and he just beats whatever you just did.
Yeah.
So like, that's a huge potential character, but people don't want to put the work in and like, oh, he's like very movement heavy. If you don't know how to pivot or anything like that, it's like, I'm not gonna put the work in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Zero Suit. Oh, okay. Just run and do Nair all the time, and then I have 80% of rage. I'm just gonna do down. I'm gonna grab him at 30%, do down throw up B, and then look, he's dead.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I definitely agree. I mean, I think that's usually what's gonna happen in general for anything. Honestly, people are gonna move to the ease characters because they're, like you said, their goals, are gonna be overt. So it's like, okay, I know this and this. This is gonna get me this, and so I just have to do this, and I'm okay now, right? But yeah. I think that now that people are, which is sometimes somewhat kind of nice, and I think that would argue even in the beginning that's how people saw Falcon, which is why people were running against Falcon. But then because of that, people start to see how overt Sermon's weaknesses are going to be now. But the nice thing about those kind of characters is as people get better and improve in the game, now you can take these general aspects of the game and apply them to this very, this very kind of more basic or more simplified stance of what this character's supposed to do and the goals, and also now you've made this it's easy to tie in more so, whereas certain other characters you may be kind of confused and discerning what this character's goals are, what they need to be looking at, all those kind of things. But yeah, definitely overall I think those characters are going to be moving forward, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. People are getting better. There's still a lot of things that people need to learn, but people are getting better, and so that at least something that can be happy about, and I think that all of us can say that. But again, guys, I'm probably gonna have you guys on many more times. Obviously, make this system a little more concise so we can be okay, and you guys don't have to sit an hour in prep time getting this stuff done. But I just want to say thank you so much. Kirbykid, can you let the people know where they can find you? Of course, we have your Twitter already at the bottom, but I know you are always working on a myriad of projects, so go ahead and let the people know.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I'm not dogging any Smasher for not, doing their research or learning, because learning is hard. We all have our flaws and our drawbacks for, absorbing this massive game. The thing I'm putting a lot of my time into is studying how people learn and how players can get better at these games. So along with Serving Smash, and One Smash, I started doing research with ARMS. So if you have any questions about either of these two games or how to learn or how to improve, that's my wheelhouse. Just shoot me a line and I'll be happy to talk.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. And of course, Ninjalink, you have the Twitch, and of course you have your Discord. I know there's a lot of people that you've been helping out in your group, just making sure they can see games for what they are overall. And so let the people know where they can find you.
So you guys can find me on Twitter at Ninjalink. You can find me on Twitch. YouTube, my YouTube's kind of deadish at the moment, so can't really do anything there. But yeah, Twitter and Twitch. I give lessons to people, as some of you know. So I try to help people see the light of this game. And, well, as people say, you see the Matrix, take the red pill. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, man. Well, again, thank you so much, gentlemen, for having you guys on here, man. I really appreciate hearing you guys and just hearing your kind of wisdom and, knowledge and just talking about the stuff, man. People need to talk about these things. People need to know. And I know there's a lot of people still out there who want to know. They just don't know necessarily where to look. So hopefully you guys enjoy this here today. And, of course, you can hit up any of these gentlemen and, take that to the next step. These guys are always here in open arms. You guys have always been about trying to help and grow and nurture people. And I think that's one of the beautiful qualities that you guys both share. So guys, definitely hit these guys up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much. Please like, follow, and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, go over, shoot it to them, or put it in the comment section down below, guys. But most importantly, have yourselves a damn good day.